another Knowledge Panel show, episode 23. And today we're talking about the differences between SEO in Spanish and Spanish SEO versus SEO in English. And once again, we've got a fantastic cast with us. I think it's best for them to introduce themselves. Guys, thank you very much for coming along. Why don't we start with you, Monsi? Why don't you introduce yourself, say hello. Who are you and where do you come from?
Hello, everyone. My name is Montserrat. Cano. I am an international digital marketing person. I've been doing SEO for donkey's years now. I'm mostly in Spain, in the UK, France, and now in Latin as well. And I am very happy to be here with you all.
And it's great to have you on. Thank you very much for coming on. It's been too long for us to get you on the show, to be honest with you. So thanks for coming on. Thanks. Gemma, why don't you tell everybody about who you are and where do you come from?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Gemma Fontané, an SEO consultant from Barcelona. I do international SEO for different clients. And I also have a small website that I sell Catalan Christmas products here in Spain and Catalonia, but also around the world, mainly in US and UK.
Brilliant. It's okay. So we got a whole Catalan versus the rest of Spain conversation to have. Probably that's going to go political. So I'll just stay clear of that one. Filipa, tell us about yourselves. Where are you and where you come from?
Hello, everyone. So my name is Filipa. I'm actually originally from Portugal, but I've been living in Spain for the past 5-6 years now. I got into the world of SEO a bit through copywriting, and now I've been doing, I'm an SEO specialist full-time since like 2018, 2019. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Excellent. Thanks very much for coming on, Filipa. And finally, last but not least, Adelina.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really glad to share this space with you guys. So, yeah, my name is Adelina. I'm an SEO specialist. I'm specialized in content. I came to SEO through copywriting as Filipa. I'm Romanian, but I've been living in Malaga for the last 15 years. So yeah, I'm more Spanish than Romanian. And yeah, thank you for having me here.
You're very welcome. It's great. We got a very sort of international Spanish crew, which is good. So lastly, last but not least, I'd like to bring in my producer and make sure that I've covered all the things that I'm supposed to cover. David, how are you?
Very good indeed. I just want to say, Dixon, quickly, anyone that's listening on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, please come and interact with us live next time if you can. Just go to theknowledgepanelshow.com, sign up, watch us live, and hopefully you can interact and ask a few questions and enjoy the next episode. I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen in the next episode towards the end of this one.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, guys. So let's jump in straight away and start talking about Spanish and Spanish versus British or English-speaking SEO, and let's get to the root of the Spanish themselves, the country of Spain. You guys strike me, and I mean this in the most positive sense, as adventurers. I mean, all through history we've had had you guys going with this against looking out for South America, finding the world, traveling the world. Do you think that spirit of adventure is something that goes into a Spanish approach to SEO, or have I completely misread everything for the past 200 years? Who wants to go with that one first?
I can go. I think I believe that the Spanish SEO market it's kind of wild. I mean, yes, we are very different from one country to another, and also in the same country. So it's kind of different, wild, but also interesting because this difference it's interesting, and you need to learn different things in every place. So I think it's great.
So do you think that do you think that Spanish SEOs take risks, or do you think that they're conservative? There's nods coming through, but for those on podcasts, they can't see that. So Adelina.
Yeah, well, for me, the SEO here in Spain is an adventurous one. Yeah, but it really depends on the company. I mean, it goes with the soul of the company. There are some companies that maybe are starting to use SEO, but they don't really know very much about it, so they start with baby steps. But those who already know what SEO is about, they are just like, let's try this, let's try that. We copy the United States a lot. It's like we drink from them, not right? So we see what other people do, and we try to implement that and make it better in some ways, see what we can improve. And yeah, for me, SEO in Spain is really adventurous.
Monse, Filipa, anything to add on to those?
I mean, yes, I think definitely SEO is about trial and error. So in a way, you got to be a little bit adventurous. And I definitely think Spanish SEO is growing a lot lately, and there's a lot of potential. So I'll definitely say adventurous, yes.
Yeah, that's good. Monse, same thoughts?
Yeah, sure. I agree 100% with my colleagues here. I do believe that the SEOs in Spain are actually quite adventurous, particularly now that we are actually seeing what is happening or has been happening in other countries. And I think we tend to look into what has been happening and implement it in Spain as well. As Adelina says, it really depends on the company that you are or the clients that you're working with at this moment in time, because it really depends. Oh, sorry, I have said it depends, but it really depends on what the situation.
Yeah, you said it in context. I'll let you off that one. That's okay.
Okay, thank you.
It's my pet hate, guys. Is the it depends. You know? So I mean, I must admit, from InLinks' point of view, so I should have said the show is sponsored by InLinks and advert to InLinks there. But from InLinks' point of view, we launched in Spanish as our third language. So after English and French, we went straight to Spanish, and the uptake has been pretty good. And it's interesting because it's, you know, entity SEO and the stuff that we do isn't you know, the most common type of SEO. I think people are kind of getting there. So from what we see the Spanish giving it a try, and that's really good. So let's go into the Spanish market a little bit then. And I know that you know, Spanish is not just spoken in Spain, it's spoken in Mexico, it's spoken, you know, halfway around the world and loads of different places, and quite a lot in America even. But we have this question in English. You know, if you've got a generic English speaking website and it doesn't really matter where your customers come from, or you don't think it matters where your customers come from, there's always the question: do you optimize using Google's using the US results or using the UK results? You know, does that question arise in the Spanish market, or is every customer always focused on a particular market? You know, and which one would you go for if you were just, I don't know, if you just had a Spanish dictionary that you were trying to optimize, for example? You know, where would you be using your rank checking software, wherever that might be? I don't know, who wants to jump in with that? Do you want to jump in, Monse?
I do believe that in this case we would normally go for the Spanish market in the first place. I think. I mean, if we take both the Latin countries, Latin markets, and the Spanish market, we would go for the Spanish market in the first place. Unless the ethos and or the products are going to be directed or aimed at Latin countries, definitely. But there has been a huge trend over the last few years to also optimize for Latin countries, because that means a wider market and also a wider customer base. So people have been trying that for quite some time, and I have to say it has been working quite well from what I have been reading. Because one of the things with the Spanish SEOs is that although there's very good content marketers, etc., I think we are a lot bigger with technical SEO. So things like hreflang, etc., is something that we we tend to like to use. And I think internationalization has been providing us with this particular.
Because I find it interesting that you say that you go for Spanish first, and I wonder if that's universal across all four of you, because as you say, there's a lot more people in Mexico than there are in Spain. So doesn't that mean that you're going to get more clicks and more customers from Mexico? Anyone else want to argue back, Filipa?
Yes. So from my experience, I've been working in SEO in Spanish only in Spain. So I've been targeting only Spain. And for example, when we are working in an e-commerce, we do get a lot of traffic from Latin America, for example, but then that traffic does not convert. So the question that I often get is, why do we have so much traffic and we do not have many conversions? Because there's a lot of traffic coming from the outside of Spain. And of course, that is often something that I need to explain, something that needs to be taken into consideration. But I guess that if I was to optimize something in Spanish, I would probably target maybe Latin America, because I feel like there is a whole new world to explore. There is a lot of traffic coming from there, even though sometimes I do target Spain, and still we often get a lot of traffic from there. So yeah.
Okay. Cool. Excellent. Okay. I mean, if Gemma, did you want to jump in? I saw you, or yep.
Well, no, I just want to add that maybe it depends a lot on the sector too. For example, in Spain, the e-commerce sector, it's like very high. A lot of people are buying online. However, I also work with B2B companies, and there we have like more market in Mexico, Chile, countries from Latam. So it's also maybe e-commerce sector in Spain is bigger. So I will go for e-commerce in Spain, but maybe in Latam, B2B services are an opportunity too.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. We started with the B2B project here in Spain. Everything was going good, but it went pretty well in Argentina. We launched first in Argentina, and then Mexico and Venezuela, and the product just took off. It was crazy. So I would start with. I think we started with Spain just because the startup was Spanish.
I suppose if you get it right in Spain, Spanish, you're going to get it right the rest of the world over, or you've got a much better chance anyway. So that's good. So I got a question in from Andres actually, who's asked us, when we speak about the Spanish SEO market, what would you say the content must be? Would it be customer orientated or product orientated? So Eli Schwartz has written a book, Product Led SEO, and he's looking at really focusing on the product. Another school of thought is always focus on the customer. Google's case, of course, there's overlaps between those two things. But do you have a tendency to go one way or another? Who wants to jump in there?
I can go first. Yeah, in my case, I always go customer centered. To me, they are the ones who are actually going to do the conversions, or the ones who are actually going to click on the products and then buy. Obviously, the content that you write needs to be descriptive of the product, and it needs to be absolutely factual as well, so that people can understand, so potential users can understand what exactly it is that they are buying. And so in that case, I guess I would say it's product led, product centered. But at the end of the day, the customers are the ones who are going to buy. Yeah. Although I do understand this school of thought as well that you mentioned. I appreciate it.
Adelina?
Yeah, I'm going to jump in with Montserrat's opinion. And I'm a content SEO. So for me, it's customer first, but you need to let your product be known to the world. So you have to treat your product with a lot of pamper, Like the same you are treating your customer, you have to treat your product. I think it's a both way situation. And for me, it's a mix of both of them. But eventually, maybe 60 for the customer and 40% for the product, more or less.
Okay. Gemma, any Gemma, Filipa, any thoughts on that? You go with them? You're going with the majority?
Yes, I agree. I would say probably customer first, but as Adelina said, it's a mix of both. But I probably would tend to go more to the customer side, let's say. Okay. Yeah, but I pretty much agree with everything they said.
Okay, no dissent then, and no dissent from you, Gemma, either. Right,
I'm totally with them.
Customer. Okay, we'll go with the customer. That's a pretty universal opinion there. So that's good. I mean, that said, and I'm gonna because it sounds like Eli Schwartz has got a really interesting book called Product-Led SEO, and I think what's really interesting about thinking about it from the point of view of a product is that you don't assume that every customer is going to be your customer, and I think that that's a useful lesson for SEOs to understand, because it differentiates yourselves from the rest of the world. Donald Trump is a great example. I know he's nothing to do with Spain, thank goodness for you, but I think this idea that he has decided, there you go, product-led SEO shown on the screen for those that were on the live webinar. It won't be in the podcast. Oh, and you can get my book, Entity SEO, as well. Okay, thank you, David. Okay, we'll cut that out of the the other side. But yeah, I think that power to differentiate yourself against your competition is very important for SEO, increasingly important, because everything's so the same now. So that's kind of my where I think the product-led SEO probably has a value in here. Okay, so right, is the Spanish market, I mean, as developed as the English-speaking market in terms of SEO? And Adelina, you kind of suggested that the Spanish market sort of takes what the Americans have done and copies it, which is kind of what the UK do, but we kind of get there within weeks, and maybe it takes a few more months or a while for the Spanish to catch on to the ideas. I don't know, but is the Spanish market as developed as English-speaking markets from the point of view of the SEOs, and also from the point of view of the customers? So the people that you're selling your SEO services to, do you think there's a difference there, a disconnect there between the SEO's abilities and the customer's understanding? I'll go Adelina, because you started with the comment that you copy what the Americans do.
Yeah, like we do copy some of the things. We do watch Americans a lot and try to improve what they are doing. But I think we also have amazing professional people here in Spain. And I think the Spain market maybe has started a bit, later than the American one. But I think the Spanish market is coming to the same point. So it's true that we do watch the Americans, and we do see a lot what they are doing. And I think they have a lot of new ideas. But I also think that we are getting to that point as well. So for me, is a market that has achieved to develop in a great way, even though it started a bit later.
And what about the customers, Gemma? Are they keeping up?
I mean, the customers are so much different in English markets than in Spanish markets. For example, well, you can see it with online sellings. Like, it's so much different here than in the US. People are not so used to buy online, although already in Spain it's increasing a lot. Customers are different. It's so different. We buy in other marketplaces. For example, we buy in Amazon here in Spain, and for example, in Latam, Mercado Libre is the most popular one. So it's like we are getting there, but maybe we are getting there different.
Okay. Filipa, Monsi, anything to add in there?
I'm not sure if my colleagues agree. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go on, Filipa. Carry on, Filipa. We'll get Monsi in a second.
I'm not sure if my colleagues agree with me, but I do have the feeling that maybe the link building field, and it's still a bit, I still see some dodgy practices sometimes, such as like, private blog networks and stuff like that in the Spanish market that perhaps it's not so common in the English speaking market.
It's not still remarkably common in the English market. I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, I do feel that it's still a practice, and it's like, well, yeah. I do not agree with it, but yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Montse, you wanted to dive in?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I think mostly in this market, in the Spanish market, and also in the Latin, we are basically catching up, just playing catching up, simply because we started a bit later. But I think SEO, from a professional perspective, I think has increased and has developed greatly over the last 10, 15 years. So it's not like we are lagging behind a lot, not anything. And in fact, I think there is, I think most of the SEO stuff that we would actually be known for here is mostly technical SEO. Although, like I said before, there are plenty of great content marketers in here as well, and affiliates. I think it's mostly I don't know whether Gemma agrees with me or not. It's mostly technical SEOs. But I don't really think we are lagging too much behind, nor anything at all. And dodgy practices, my goodness, everywhere, every day, all the time. you can even smell them. I mean, it's so easy. In terms of marketers. In terms of marketers, I'm sorry, in the market.
Yeah, carry on. Yeah, go on. Go on. In terms of marketers, go on.
In terms of the customers, I think that has taken a longer time. Yeah, a longer time to catch up. I think our habits have shifted greatly, just like everywhere else in the world. But I think the digital maturity in the Spanish markets or Spanish-speaking markets are a lot less mature, so to speak, than in other countries, particularly the English-speaking ones. And I have had some recent experience with a Latin American country, where it was very, very interesting, but it was so difficult to do keyword research in there. In this particular one, it was for an e-commerce. And I can tell you, I was so surprised to find out that keywords such as buy this, purchase that, etc., you just wouldn't find them.
Or you've just given me a really good chance to talk about the fact that InLinks is about to come out with a topic-based keyword research tool. So it'll be language agnostic. So I'm just going to throw that in there. It should be out by the end of the month. I hope. I'm going to get shot now for Fred because it's probably not ready. But anyway, but I think you make an interesting point about the fact that both you and Adelina made the point that maybe in the past, Spain was a bit far further behind, but it's caught up quite quickly. And I remember a Swedish lecturer 25 years ago, when the internet was, I'd say, fairly young. My wife came home one day and said, "I've just heard this lecture. I bought it on a tape, literally on one of those tapes with reels, and we played it in the car for probably about 5 years." And he was talking about a thing that he called techno-economic parity. So he was 25 years ago. He was saying, right, okay, maybe now, America's really doing well on, in search and all this other stuff. But, all these other countries around the world are going to catch up. And when the infrastructure catches up, all of a sudden, somebody in India or Spain or France or anywhere else can learn just as quickly as anyone else. And once you take away that barrier to entry, then of course everyone's going to catch up, pretty quickly. And it seems to be happening now. Unfortunately, we're still an unequal society around the world, so the rest of equality hasn't evened up. But it does appear that there is some benefits to the rest of the world now of being able to catch up technically on most things now. So let's talk about links. Someone mentioned links, but we might have some bias group here. But here's a question: content links or tech SEO? What's Spain? What are the Spanish like content links or tech SEO or something else? I'll go in with Gemma there.
Yeah, sure. I mean, which one? I think that all of them, but it depends a lot on if you are working on an agency or not, because here it's not so much developed, like everything's so differentiated for my point of view. And it's like everybody's working everything, but maybe in a separate way in some cases, especially in the small agencies. So it's like links, it's a whole world. I mean, I think most of us don't know how to do PR or how it is, or maybe we do it in our way. Like most journalists don't know about SEO. I mean, I've worked in newspaper and they don't know what SEO is. So it's like maybe you don't even get a link and
just buy some journalists and bribe them.
But the big newspapers, they obviously they know everything, but it just we are getting there, but it's like a little bit of everything, and it depends a lot about the sector and if you are a big company or not. I don't know.
So I mean, I know Monsi's very much, technical. I'd call you a technical SEO, Monsi. Would you say that the Spanish market are technically adept?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. It's not a question of whether we are or not. It's whether there are more, or the number of people. We're talking about the number of people who might be more technically adept. Because the fact is that we started. Sorry, I'm really nervous here. But the fact that we started late means that there are less people, or there may be less people than in other countries, in other markets, who are doing technical SEO or content SEO or whatever, technical marketing. Yeah. So, but the Spain definitely it has great technical SEOs and great SEOs, generally speaking. It's just that we don't tend to advertise ourselves too much. And it's not just the English language, it's just we are not good. We are just not good at advertising ourselves. So this is the reason why there are a few tools such as Key Trends or Kiwasan, etc., that are very, very good for SEOs as well. Keyword clusterization, etc. They are very good. They are made here in Spain, and I don't think that many people do know them. Everybody knows SEMrush, everybody knows OnCrawl, because they've got this very big infrastructure behind them, which is exactly what they need to do. But we are not that very good at advertising ourselves, and therefore perhaps we are less known for that. But there's plenty of people in here who can actually do a very good job in terms of technical SEO, definitely.
Adelina and Filipa, you guys come from a content background. Do you see it slightly differently? Do you see that you're content led as SEOs?
What I wanted to say on this podcast, and I'm going to say it, is that I really think that Spanish content is achieving an excellent quality. And I think it's even better than the American one that we are speaking about, America. Mm-hmm. I think that we are focusing so much in giving the right quality, and we are doing the customer first, and we are doing we explain everything about the product. We let you know how to use it. We just pamper it a lot. I love that word, by the way. And I think that leads us to excellent results. It happened for me. And that's why I like this part of the SEO. The technical part, I love it too. I know how to do some of the technical stuff. I'm not as pro as many people, but for me, the content is, one of the backbones. It has to be worked with a lot of logic behind.
And of course, the customer can see the content and understand the content. They can't understand that you've just sped up the site.
Yeah, and the perfect thing is that if you are in love with your product and your workers are in love with your product, the customer knows that. It's really easy to see when you have stuffed keywords or just writing because you are writing, and when you do it because you love what you're writing about.
So no, that's interesting. And Filipa, you're content led as well. So are you going to go for the content as a strength of the Spanish SEO industry?
I would say so. I mean, I really like the three of them, you know, technical, link building, and content, but probably I would say content. I also believe that there is a bit of a perception sometimes in Spain that SEO is just content, and it's like, okay, it is important, but we also need to have the other stuff into consideration. But yeah, I would probably choose content. It's something that I really like, and it can be very challenging in Spanish as well, because you know, many words are gendered, and in English we do not have that. So it's quite different. We use a lot of prepositions. I think it's definitely more challenging to write in Spanish than in English in that way. But yeah, I would go for content. I would say, like they say, content is king, so I'll leave it like that.
It's probably more difficult for us to understand entities on there as well. So, but yes. Well, while we're there, then Filipa, what about budgets in Spanish? I mean, I don't know if you've got customers with English budgets and English speaking customers and then Spanish speaking customers, but is there a difference in the price expectations that Spanish may have? Filipa, what's your experience? You know, how much should I pay? Is what I'm really asking, but no one's going to answer that one. So.
I would say that the English-speaking markets are more willing to actually pay for a service, and the Spanish-speaking markets are way more skeptical. Well,
skeptical.
Yeah. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. I would definitely say that. And then because also SEO, you know, it takes time. It's not something that you can see immediately. So it is often taken as something that, is it really going to work? And I think that people are not, in general, are not willing to invest as much as in the English-speaking markets, definitely.
Okay. Is that the view around? I saw Monsi nodding her head viciously there when, you know, the Spanish don't want to spend any money. Is that right?
It's vastly different from other countries. It really is. But I think it really is partly because of what Filipa was saying a few minutes ago about content, because the expectation is about content and nothing else. And it really is not. There's a lot of work that we need to do to educate our customers or potential customers as well, in terms of what they can expect in terms of SEO, etc., etc. A lot more than English-speaking countries, certainly a lot more than in the UK. Because the expectation is that you either do a lot of technical work, technical SEO, and then I would agree with what Giuseppe was saying a minute ago on the comments.
Yeah, there's a comment in there for anybody on the podcast that Joseph came in and said that he feels that this technical SEO is the Spanish SEO's strength, I would say. So there's definitely two points of view on that one, I think.
But I think at the same time, when you talk to clients in Spain, what happens is that you are expected to produce content and to add content every day, or at least once or twice a week, if possible, because that for them is what matters, and that's what they are willing to pay for. They are not willing to pay for, generally speaking, for all the effort that it takes to actually bring that content up. Produce that content, monitor it, etc., etc. I don't really. I still think that there is a lot of work for us to do, because they seem to think that there is it's a little bit of black magic involved rather than anything else. It's not. This is a huge challenge here in Spain, and therefore the money comes with it as well.
So then Gemma and Adelina, then, you know, if budgets are tight in Spanish, even so, you kind of what are the things that are important in a pitch to try and get a Spanish company on your books? If you're trying to pitch to somebody, what do you think are the talking points that they expect to see in a pitch? What's going to make them splash the cash? Gemma?
In my case, as a freelance, they are only focused on revenue. I mean, they are looking for make money online, because most of the websites are not making. So it's like, if you show them conversions and how SEO is going to help their business. If you focus SEO with their business goals, it's a good way to make them believe in SEO and what is SEO for.
It's not always easy to do, though, is it? To go in with the pitch and say, hey, because you don't know how profitable or unprofitable their website is before you go in, and so you're given a poison challenge. So maybe the way to do that is to say, well, this much traffic, if you had to pay for it, would cost this much. So you can use the PPC kind of comparison, I think. Maybe.
Yeah, this is one thing, but also because sometimes it's like they are websites that they don't have any keyword ranked. So it's like if you show the competition, if you show them how much traffic the other ones are getting, and you educate them a little bit, and you show them other examples, other projects, I mean, they can understand you and believe in you and know what SEO is for.
Adelina, anything to add on that?
Yeah, I really think that this has to do with what we were speaking before about how the market has evolved in a slower way than the professional side, because we still have to educate a lot our customer and our clients sometimes, like Monse said, and they think that we do some kind of black magic, like bidi boom, and there you have your keywords ranked, you know. So for me, it's there. But when you want to sell something, I do the one that you said is like if you do this with the paid one, it's going to cost you like double, triple, or whatever, and it works pretty well.
Okay. So we're about near the end. I'll just finish by asking. Monse mentioned a bunch of Spanish tools. So why don't I finish by asking each of you whether you've got one favorite Spanish tool to use in the Spanish market, whether it's Spanish or not. Is there a favorite tool that you've got? You don't have to mention in links. That's fine. That's okay. They're just sponsors. We don't really care about them now. But why don't I start with you, Monse, since you rattled off a few there very quickly. What would be your favorite tool that is interesting, either Spanish made or Spanish focused?
I like in links, for example.
Yeah, you didn't have to do that, but thank you. The beer is in the post.
Cool. One that I have come across very recently is called Key Trends, which is a tool to help you with clusterization of words.
Okay.
So when you're doing keyword research and you need to basically do the clusterization, it's so time consuming. This one actually makes it a lot easier. So it's still in development, but I think it's a good idea to take a look.
Oh, I'm gonna have to show you what we're coming out with next week. I hope.
Looking forward.
Okay. Anyone else want to jump in with this favorite tool? Gemma?
Yeah, I'll go with SEMrush, but also here the keyword planner of Google Ads. For me, it's great because I can geolocalize a lot.
The keyword planner of what?
Google Ads.
Oh, Google Ads. Okay.
Yeah, because we have a lot of different languages, for example, inside of Spain, and this helps you to geolocalize everything and every region. So this is good.
Cool. Adelina, throw one in.
If we are speaking like I have SEMrush is one of my favorites. I know I'm super basic, but I love it. But then if we're speaking about reviewing all the content, I have this tool called Grammarly that is super simple and
does that work well in Spanish then as well?
It does it in Spanish as well, yeah.
Okay.
And it just works so well to save me a lot of time.
I agree. I couldn't live without Grammarly now. My typing has got so bad. I have so many errors when I do anything that if I didn't have Grammarly, people would assume that I'm, more than dyslexic. No, I agree with that one. But I didn't know it was available in other languages as well. So that's a new one for me. So that's good. Filipa?
It is not a Spanish tool, but I would say maybe Systrix. I also like it a lot. It's quite good in Spanish, and I tend to use it quite a lot as well. So yeah, that's the one I would probably mention. But actually, I don't have. Yeah, any Spanish tool now from the top of my head, to be honest. I was thinking, but no.
No, I like the guys at Systrix because they've just got on with their own thing over the last 20 years. They've been going for years and years and years. So and they've just been getting on with their own thing, and they've done a very good job, I think, of being that product that isn't for everybody, but for the people it's there for. It's a really good product, and people seem to like it. So that's good, guys. Thank you ever so much for coming along. I really do appreciate it. Before I just ask you, to say how people can get hold of you if they want to, I'm going to bring back David to make sure that I've covered everything and to find out what's happening in the next episode. David.
Yeah, indeed. Great conversation today. So thanks so much, everyone, for taking part. I just want to remind you listening, you watching, theknowledgepanelshow.com is where you need to go if you want to be signed up to be alerted when we actually go live next time. Next month, we're going to be live on Monday, the 20th of June at 4 p.m. BST. And that is a topic on how SEO and PPC can work together. We've already got a couple of great people signed up for that one, Nava Hopkins and Becky Sims. Plus, there'll probably be another guest for that one as well. So remember, theknowledgepanelshow.com.
Maybe we should get Gemma back for that, since she likes Google Planner quite so much in her SEO stuff as well. So, but Gemma, how do people find you if they want to find out more about you and get in touch?
Yeah, through Twitter or LinkedIn with Gemma Fontané. And that's all.
So for those that can't see a screen, that's Gemma with a Gemma, and then Fontane, acute. I don't know how you put an acute in a computer, but
you don't need it.
You don't need it on LinkedIn.
Without it.
Okay. Filipa, how do people get hold of you?
Yes, so if you Google me, Filipa, Serra, Gaspar, my LinkedIn should be the first on the search.
So I have to do this every time. So okay, so just for everybody else, Filipa is spelled with an F, Filipa, and then Serra is Serra, and then Gaspar, Gaspar. I'm sure when we do that, we'll get you. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, or on Twitter at Filipa Gaspar. Yes.
Excellent. That's great. Adelina, sorry.
You can find me on LinkedIn as Adelina Bordea with a B. And then I'm on Twitter as well. I'm not pretty active, but I'll try to be from now on, maybe.
So I'm just, again, for the podcast, I'm just going to say Adelina Bordea. It just stops any confusion for anybody listening in. That's great. And finally, Monty, how do we get hold of you? Well, if you're going to talk with a muted mic, then we're never going to find out where to find you.
That's true. Great point, that one. So you can find me on LinkedIn and also on Twitter. My name on Twitter my handle is Cano, just like you are saying on your screen.
That's Cano for those that haven't got a screen.
Yeah. Right. So MONTSCCANO all together.
Brilliant. Guys, thank you ever so much. Josip just came in and said thank you very much as well. But it's been a lovely show. Really nice to have you guys on. Really appreciate your perspective. And thanks very much for coming on the panel show. And for everybody out there in internet land, we'll see you next time.